Hello, it's another beautiful edition of Hola Hola on Flip TV. Still your host, Mercy Efoge. Today we have amazing and beautiful stuff to talk about. Buhari says Nigerian youths to stay back in Nigeria to advance the cause of our motherland. EFCC marks Kanu's Sun newspaper, other properties for seizure. Why I can't ask DSS to release Owerri, Minister of Justice, the grandfather of corruption. No politician should wait for my support in 2023 election, says Buhari. Oluwo and his wife have separated. US President Donald Trump impeached. Stay back and I will be right back. And welcome back. Stay back in Nigeria and suffer with me, says Buhari. Buhari has beseeched Nigerian youth to stay and advance the cause of the country. He says we have no other country than Nigeria, that we should stay here to salvage the country together. Mr. President, my question is, does Buhari stay in Nigeria? Don't we know how this man travels all around the world every time? Does his children study here in Nigeria? Or am I missing something? Are his children not Nigerian youths? And is Nigeria not Buhari's motherland? Buhari should stay here more often. A lot of youths are following your laid out example, sir. And whenever you fall sick, you go abroad for treatment. You are just a visiting president, Mr. President. Because you don't stay here. And with all due respect, sir, I, Mercy, have stayed in this country this year more than you do, sir. I will say practice what you preach, Mr. President. Come to think of it, many Nigerian youth have migrated to Europe, America, and making great exploits in medicine, sports, academics, and arts. I don't need to mention names because the records are there. The cause should be to salvage this country together, not to suffer it. Together we can lift Nigeria higher, better, and greater. And moving on, EFCC on Saturday, December 14th, 2019, moved to the next level in fulfilling the terms of court sentence passed on former Abia State Governor, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu. The anti-graft agency said he has begun marking the properties belonging to him to seek reparation for the 7.65 billion stolen from the Abia State Treasury. This looks like a season film to me. The process to confiscation of his properties, including his company and airlines, slug have started. EFCC can be very swift, but why is this still collecting salaries? A service senator, did I hear you say? In other same climes, Kalu should have resigned from public office long time ago, but looters don't quit. It is in their DNA. And never each time I look back at how Kalu started, even as a student, his records were smeared, no integrity, yet he found his way into politics, dining and whining with party stalwarts, and eventually, like play, he emerged the governor of Abia State. At that youthful age that he was supposed to use his energy, intellect, did he have one, to help the state grow? He resorted to steal, and each time his critics pointed to the fact that he was stealing Abia blind, he would call them names. A good example is former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who he said caused him that he would suffer for the rest of his life. I am afraid the old folks saw it coming, and I beg he will still be smiling now. 12 years imprisonment, if not smashed by a higher court as Kalu prayed. That is the rise and fall of Kalu, the ambitious, greedy trader turned governor from Aba. Moving on, Shoye lawyer Femi Falana had reportedly written the AGF asking him to order the release of his client Showore. However, in a statement by his spokesman, Umar Gwadun, Abubakar Malami says he cannot direct DSS to release Showore because issues have been joined into court. The AGF said his office remains guided by the established tradition and will not take decisions without records to the rule of law. He said the government is guided by the extant laws and traditions of the law in handling legal matters and related litigations. Now, which law and tradition is the AGF following anyway? If I may ask, is there law in Nigeria? Is anyone following law in Nigeria? Is it not the same law the DSS disregarded without show of shame in court? So the DSS is now above the law. The country is in a mess. What I see here is that the AGF takes order from his oga at the top, who happens to be Buhari. Nigeria is the biggest prank ever. Nigeria has failed us as far as I am concerned. We have no law. Buhari is the law. What he says stands. We live in a country where rules are not followed. Once you are in power, it tends to be abused. Democracy that demonstrates craziness. It's such a pity. But one thing you politicians should know is that you will not be in power forever. The grandfather of corruption. The allegedly corrupt PDP administration built the NAS complex with 7 billion naira. That's a lot of money. But the anti-corruption inclined APC-led NAS wants to renovate it with 37 billion. What a way to combat graft. Evidently, the PhD brandishing Ahmed Lawan led NAS is determined to ruin this nation called Nigeria. He is never hidden his subservient choice, not because he is stupid, but because it is more profitable under this deceptive regime. Above all, and this is very instructive, I am beginning to agree with a funny theory that the 37 billion renovation fee is a settlement in advance for the Buhari's alleged third-term agenda. We quickly talk about it, and some of you think we are hallucinating. Well, it will hit you all like the coming of a thief in the night. And guess what? Oga will still feel ignorance. After all, the lawmakers will be deemed to be doing their work of amending the constitution. If this is to make any sense, it therefore appears more likely an agreement to curry the NAS support for the alleged third-term project than renovating a complex that still standing firm, clean, and beautiful, just like Messi anyway. Now think about it this way. How can a broke nation indulge in such a needless waste? It is also interesting to note that the APC apologists are not coming out to attack this evil. It is understandable, anything APC is divinely ordained. Sure. Oh, wait a minute. Now I see who is behind this. It is Dr. Bukola Saraki. You know the guy is invisible. He controls things from anywhere and has such incomprehensive capacity to move the immovable. He seems to be behind this, brethren, like it or not. Anyone whose body language encourages corruption is as corrupt as those actively delivering the briefs of corruption. Because at the end of the day, the box stops somewhere, and that is the table of number 1. I didn't know they were up to something this bad. Would not be tenable, because what you delegate as a leader is authority and not responsibilities, Mr. General, and you would shoulder them at the appropriate time. No politician should wait for my support in 2023 election, says Buhari. Nigeria President Muhammad Buhari has fired several politicians waiting for him to support them in 2023 election, vowing that he will never favor any politician as to bend the rule of the game. Buhari clocked 77 years on Tuesday and is renewing his determination to give Nigeria a free and fair poll in 2023. As the secretary to federal government, Boss Mustafa and other aides presented a birthday card to him at the State House, Abuja. The retired Major General chose the moment to uncover what had been in his mind. According to him, politicians who wanted to vote for the 2023 general elections must work for it and earn the trust of the people. He said he will not bend the rule for anybody against the popular wish of the Nigerian masses. Buhari added that matters of the All Progressive Congress, APC, must work hard, as he would not allow anyone to use his name to canvass for electoral votes. That's good, Mr. President. But what brought you to power? If I may ask you, sir, what manner of election produced the winners of 2015 and 2019 election? I could hardly recall any independent observer with reports that the two past elections were free and fair. Not even from Europe and America, where the elections are judged free and fair, not minding the presence of a senior advocate of Nigeria as vice president. Take a clue from the most recent elections in Bayelsa and Kogi. There were serious malpractices in both states and your party won under your watch. So of what value or relevance is your birthday statement that it will no longer be business as usual here, Mr. President? Oluwo and his wife have separated. Ms. Chinachi is an ex-queen of Oluwo. This is to inform the general public, most especially friends and associates of the Oluwo of Iwo Land, His Imperial Majesty Oba Dr. Abdulrasheed Adewale Akambi. That's another beautiful love story that just gone sour just like that. Like the Oni and the immediate past embattled Queen Zainab, Queen Chinachi and Oluwo Oba Abdulrasheed Akambi, things fall apart. Yes, it happens. Come to think of it, is it exuberance or recklessness that a monarch divorces his wife on the page of newspaper? What is happening here? So the Oluwo wants the estranged wife to be stripped of her title. Even if the Oluwo abdicates the throne, the lady has the right to her title of queen and to special privileges. This is pure character assassination. That is why the Oluwo should watch where he throws his spectre. Courts have ruled that except where an heiress uses her previous privileges to defraud, she cannot be stripped of the name or title she acquired. The rot and desecration of Yoruba's tradition should not be further experienced from the thrones we respect and venerate. Also, the Oluwo should comport himself, respect the throne, and abide by the values of the office. Well, moving on. U.S. President Donald Trump impeached. President Donald Trump was impeached by the U.S. House of Representatives Wednesday night, becoming only the third American chief executive to be formally charged under the Constitution's ultimate remedy for high crimes and misbehaviors. The historic vote splits along party lines, much the way it has divided the nation, over a charge that the 45th president abused the power of his office by enlisting a foreign government to investigate a political rival ahead of the 2020 election. The House then approved a second charge that he obstructed Congress in its investigation. The article of impeachment, the political equivalent of an indictment, now go to the Senate for trial. If Trump is acquitted by the Republican-led chamber, as expected, he still would have to run for re-election, carrying the enduring stain of impeachment on his purposed disruptive presidency. We need that wind to blow towards Nigeria too. That would be a good Xmas gift to us Nigerians. Don't you all agree with me, my people? But if you try that with Buhari, you go see how DSS go pack everybody just like Showore. But really, I'm impressed with the Americans. That's the definition of a civilized country. But I think the Senate would save him. Republicans have the majority in the Senate, which happens to be the party that Trump belongs to. If Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton could survive their Senate trial, Trump is going nowhere. Anyway, guys, that will be all for today. Catch me next time on Flip TV. See your host, Mercy Efoge. Bye.